This next section talks about another meaning for excellent teachers. Let me read to you the topic. It says, an excellent mathematics teacher means planning curriculum to achieve important mathematics goals, both in process and content. Mathematics goals are really important, but they belong both in content and in process. Let me describe briefly what the processes are. Processes involve problem solving, communication, making connections, representation, and reasoning. Those are important goals for young children, just as they are for older ones. The process skills are ones that I have to think about as I plan curriculum. Naturally, there's also content goals, and the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics have listed 5: number and operations, geometry, algebra, which we typically think of as patterns, measurement, and data analysis. Those are all topics that we address in the book, The Young Child of Mathematics. For today, though, I want us to look at those particular goals, both process and content, and think about how the teacher plans curriculum to address both of those goals. The first example in this area deals with a tape that comes from a second grade classroom. It is entitled Tile Clues. In this particular activity, I'm asking second graders to do something that's very hard for them. I'm focusing on a process skill of reasoning and problem solving. And I'm asking them to take some tiles. In fact, let me show you the tiles very quickly. These particular tiles, I'm asking them to take tiles and put them together in a very special way. As you put them together, one of the things I'm asking them to do is to first make a guess based on just one clue. That's very hard for them to do, because many of them especially want to be perfect in what they do. I then keep giving them a series of clues, and I try very hard to reward the children who have to change their answer based on new data. One of the skills of problem solving that's involved here is the idea of persistence and disposition. I want you to watch how children react as I teach this particular lesson. Something else that's very important here is that these are children that this is the first time they've really done one of these activities in this way. So watch these second graders as they solve the problem of what's the mystery tile. Now, as they're doing that, there's a couple questions I want you to focus on. The first question is, what curriculum goals were planned for this activity? Process and/or content? Please know that I've almost given you the answer on part of it, but also know that there are content objectives addressed as well. The second question is, how were these goals taught? So as you watch this tape, pay attention to both of those questions. After you view this video clip, please pause the DVD so that you can respond to any reflections you may have about this video. Use 9 tiles and make a square. If you've done that, would you go yes?
Yes!
Yes. All right. Now the next clue, some people are going to have to fix. Okay? Watch. The middle tile. Middle tile is yellow. Oh well, I like hearing oh well. That means they're going to fix it. They're going to fix it. Oh well. Fix it up. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Hold it in front of you. Let's look at the clues. You know if you have it right if you fit all the clues. The last clue was the hardest. Let's look. Have you used 9 tiles and did you make a square?
Yes.
Yes. I want to hear everyone do it as they said. Is your middle tile yellow?
Yes.
Good. I did not use any red.
Yes.
Is the bottom row all green?
Yes.
Did you use 2 more blue than the number of green?
Yes.
Because I used 3 green. 2 more than that would be 5, right? And so let's see if indeed you are right.
Yeah!
Let's talk about the 2nd grade activity. If we look at the questions, the first one says, what curriculum goals were planned for this activity? Process and/or content goals. I certainly hope that you found some process goals after my introduction. As you can see, the main focus was that they were able to solve the problem of what my tile configuration looked like. They had to use the clues that I gave them to be able to solve them. And they had to use reasoning as well, because they had to decide if indeed whatever they can put together fit all of the clues. It had to work with all of them, not just 1 or 2. It required problem solving and reasoning, and that was one of the reasons I did the tape. But the second part of the activity was the content. What content, math content, was involved? Well, there definitely was some math content. Some of the clues dealt with spatial sense, which is part of geometry. There was certainly a number clue when we said that there were 2 more of this number rather than 2 more than one color than another. Probably more importantly in this tape, it dealt with process skills and problem solving. But certainly the number activities were there as well as geometry. One other point that's very important in the idea of reasoning is the use of the word not. In every problem that I give using these tiles, one clue always uses the word not. In this case, the clue was, and I did not use any red tiles. It's very important that children get used to the idea of the word not, and that they make sure that they do not have any red in their configuration if their answer is to be correct here. Well, let's look at the second question. The second question said, how were these goals taught? If you noticed, I had a big emphasis on persistence. I applauded children a great deal who had to change their answer based on answers that were already given. So they had to decide, when I get new data, I must change my answer. One of the things I think it's so easy for me to do is to applaud the child who gets the right answer right away. It's so easy to say, good job, good thinking, oh yay. When in fact, the child who changes their answer based on new data is not as lucky, but is really being persistent. That disposition to be persistent and to keep trying is a critical one for really good problem solving, and it's one that I try to reinforce a great deal. As I look back at this tape, my reflections are very simple. They are simply that children need a lot more of this type of activity. And I, as a teacher, need to really look for the children who are performing with good effort, not always the child who gets the answer right away. One of my problems that I do, and I didn't do it in this tape, but I've done it so many times before, is I've told a child, oh, you have such a good math brain. On this tape, and in many of my teaching episodes, I try so hard to really focus on effort and say, thank you for working so hard. When you talk to a child and you say, you've got a good math brain, the other children are very smart and they know they cannot go get that good math brain. But if you say, you've got good effort, you keep trying, I like that, what that does is it tells the other children, if they try too, they have a good chance of doing well in math. This next activity is one of my favorites, and it's one that I use a lot with pre-kindergarten children. It's a way that I take a problem that they must solve and be able to then go through all of the problem-solving strategies and be able to solve the problem using their own way of thinking. In this particular activity, the children first of all are introduced to a problem, and they then act it out. Theater is one of my favorite ways to do that. And I will tell a math story problem, and the children will act it out first. After they have acted it out and we've solved the problem, the second thing you're going to see them do is talk it out. By that I mean they get together with a partner and they tell the story. And they use a mat of some sort and counters of some sort to do so. After they have talked it out with a partner, the third point is they simply draw it out by making a picture on that same work mat and making their own problem. Those problems that they draw out actually become part of a book. And then this particular book that they make in this lesson is called How Many Are Hiding? There are a couple questions I want you to look at again as you view this tape. First of all, what curriculum goals were planned for this activity? Were they process and/or content goals? And the second question is, how were these goals taught? After you view this video clip, please pause the DVD so that you can respond to any reflections you may have about this video.
Hello, welcome to the play by our class. I'd like to introduce to you the actors and actresses. The first person, actor, bow. The second person. The third person. The fourth person. And the fifth person. Very nice. One day, Mrs. Copley said, boys and girls go out and play. Go play, go play, go play, go play. And when I ring the bell, you'll come back in again. How many went out to play? 5. Let's see how many went back in. Boys and girls, come back inside. Come on, let's go. Let's come. Come on in, actors. Come on. Did you have a good time playing? Come on in, come on in, come on in. Let me see.
1 is missing. 2 is missing.
All right.
No.
Oh,
No.
How many are missing?
2.
2, you think?
No.
Well, let me see. Let's before they I go get them. 1, 2, 3. I've got 2 fingers left. Come on in, you 2. You were hiding. Oh my goodness. You come on in. Oh my. Now let's see. Do I have 5 now? Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody bow. And everybody give them a hand. Go ahead and try it. Try to plug them in. Okay, don't look. Ooh, this is a hard one. You ready? How many are hiding? Open your eyes. Open it up and see. You are good. All right, now Use how many do I see? Can you tell me how many you see? How many is that? 4, right? How many are hiding? Don't look, just tell me. How many are hiding? 1. Let's check. You are right. How many are there all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very nice. A nice picture. All right. Could you tell me about the picture right here? How many do you see? How many do you see? 3. How many are hiding? 2. Are you sure? You are right, 2. Very nice. How many are there all together? You knew that without counting? Oh, you are good. You are good on your playground.
Let's look at the questions. First question, what curriculum goals were planned for this activity? Process and/or content goals. I hope that you could see the content that was involved in this particular activity. The children were looking at the number, and as they were looking at number, they were looking at the parts. Some of the children were hiding, and then some of the children came back from recess, as the story goes. And they had to look at the parts and find the missing part. Again, the content area of number and operations that deals with part, whole. Not only were they looking at the number and operations content area, but there was lots of process here as well. Could you see the representation they were using? Where they covered up, first of all, it was the children that were being represented. Then they used counters on the mat. And then they used a covering for it to cover up and represent how many were hiding. Then when they lift up the cover, they could actually see how many and count. If you think about for just a minute, the addition and subtraction sentences. If I had 5 and 2 were missing, subtract 2, that would be 3. For an older child, they might be actually writing the equation. For a younger child like this is a representation and a way of communicating. If you find out how many parts are missing, it's the same kind of idea. So they're using communication as they talk to each other. They're representing things. So the process, and of course the process of problem solving is there too, as they're solving the problem of how many are missing. So the process goals for this activity are very important, as well as the number and operations, the content goals. Both of these are important in this particular activity. Now, if I look at the second question, I say, how were these goals taught? Well, these goals were taught using a variety of strategies. They acted out the problem first, so physically they were part of the problem. The second part is they talked it out, so I got them to communicate with a peer. And the third part is that they drew it out, so I got them to actually draw it so that it could become part of a book. I will tell you, the book that they made for this activity was practiced over and over and over again. It was part of the class library, and as they looked at each page, they would look to see how many were hiding on each page, pick them up, put it back down. So in reality, they were practicing this particular problem many times in many ways. As I reflect upon this activity, I reflect on how easy it is to take any word problem, any problem from a story, any problem from something that happened outside, and to take this problem and incorporate it into theater, and to acting it out, into talking to a partner, in talking it out, and then for the children to make their own book that solves this problem. What a nice combination, and I like it a lot, and I use it quite a bit with young children.